Today I'm going to talk about notepads because I've already covered notebooks and I think that it's a good idea to also cover notepads. Now there are many pads and brands out there. Today I'll cover only two French brands. There are many excellent other options out there. Rhodia is a very big player that's been around for a long time, but I'm not going to cover that. And the reason I chose these two brands is that I love them. I love them both. So I'm going to compare them. I'll show you a writing sample on both of these papers, and that's it. Okay. The first brand I really like is Giallo, which makes a line of notepads called Vergé de France. And that the word Vergé is slightly odd. It means the paper contains vergure. I think you pronounce it vergure and not vergure, but in any case, what I'm talking about is some kind of almost ribbed texture. Have a look at this. You see that? You see it has some kind of texture? Well, that texture, that's what the name actually refers to. And that texture is awesome. It's really nice if you write this paper. You really feel that texture through the fountain pen you're holding. At least I'm assuming you'll use a fountain pen. But it's really nice. Also, a good thing about this paper is that it comes in a number of colors. So you actually have blue paper. I think you have a very slight pink paper. Now these are not extremely bright colors. They're very soft, almost pastel-like colors. So this, for example, is ivory. But this, I just use the small A5 notepad for that. This is champagne, one of my favorite colors. Hold it a little closer. I'm not sure how well the camera picks this up, but this is really off-white, which I like a lot. What's also nice about the newer notepads is that they come with a watermark, and I'm not sure how well you can see that. There you go. You can see something of it. So that's a nice thing. This is 100-gram paper, so it's fairly heavy. There is no bleed through whatsoever. I mean, unless you use a huge calligraphy nib, but I've used a 6mm platinum pilot parallel. I always confuse platinum and pilot. Sorry, I've used that 6mm wide nib, and still there was no bleed through. So this is really cool paper. There's one big downside, and that is that the texture that makes it beautiful can also somewhat hamper writing, because it has a texture and sometimes your nib does not give as full a line as you would get on very smooth paper. Then again, to me that's a small price to pay because I really love this paper. Okay, another issue is that you don't have any lines. This paper is not ruled, which is of course beautiful, but if you have trouble with writing straight, then you have a problem. That's why I use this. This is what I call a liner note. And a liner note is something I just create in Excel. I select a bunch of cells and I make these borders really bold, fat and wide, and then I print it. And if you put that under the paper, just a little trick, maybe that's useful to some of you, you can actually see it through the paper. Not extremely well, but you can see it. And that way it's easier to write straight. So, just a little trick. Okay, so we have the 100-gram, 50 sheet per pad Giallo paper. And then there's another paper, another brand I really like, and that is Clairefontaine. This is the A5 version. Whoops, you can't really see it. There we go. Clairefontaine Triomphe. A5, A4. This paper is the smoothest I've ever seen. This is by Claire. I think that's also used in the Corvada Sabana notebooks. There is no friction if I stroke the paper like that. It's amazing. Really, the smoothest I've ever felt, which makes writing on this with a fountain pen an absolute joy. It's really great. Another nice feature is that these notepads come with a little liner. So, see that? You can put that under the paper, as I've just shown you. and then you can see the lines through. Now this is 90-gram paper, so it's a bit lighter than the Giallo paper, and as you can see, if you put the liner under that, you can sort of see the lines. You probably can't because my webcam doesn't pick it up, but believe me, you can actually see it, and that's very useful when you write. Perhaps if I do the writing sample, you'll be able to see it a bit better. Okay, so 90-gram paper on the Clairefontaine, which completely and utterly lacks any texture in the paper, but that's actually also a plus because it's ultra smooth and really nice to use. As far as I know, you can only get the Clairefontaine paper in white, and that is really, really blindingly white. Glaring. Nothing wrong with that, but some people really don't like white paper, and then I would suggest go for the Giallo. Alright, I've talked about these two notepads. I love them. I love writing letters. If I do so, I use one of these two pads because I really, really love them. Now, the best thing I can do is to give you writing samples on both of them. I'll use the same pens, but I'll use different pens with different nibs so you can get a bit of a taste of what it looks like. And that's it. So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay, here we go. So the first paper I'll show you is the Giallo. I'll start with a broad nib. This is actually more of an italic. As you can see, the texture of the paper, you can hear the texture of the paper. You hear some kind of scratchy-like sound, and in fact, it's pleasant paper to use. But you may see that when there's just a little pressure, you see a little bit of sort of skipping going on. Well, that's because of the texture of the paper. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that. It's just, you know, inherent to the paper. In all, I do really like it. This is really good letter writing paper, I think. Okay, let's use a different pen. This is a Caran d'Ache medium. You see, if I use a little pressure, you may see some of that skipping going on. Okay. Well, then perhaps okay, let's go for medium on the Carène, medium nib. Blah, blah, blah. And finally, perhaps a broad nib on my Cross ATX. Okay, so here you really see some of the skipping. See that? So with this, it's not, I mean, the pen is fully inked up, but that is something this paper made, you know. This is extreme. I never really have that when writing under normal circumstances, but you can see here, you see that? That really is the effect of the texture of the paper. Still, as I said, I really like it. So I hope that gives you an idea of this paper. Then let's move on to the Clairefontaine. I've already put this ruled sheet under the paper. Okay, let's see what that does. This paper is so smooth. It's amazing. go for the caran d'Ache again. There is quite simply no resistance when writing. It's amazing. I really cannot emphasize that enough. So where this is white, I think the Giallo paper has a nicer color, but when it comes to smoothness, this paper rules. When you write, you know, flourishes or anything, there is no skipping. Ultra smooth paper. Let's go for gold nib. Doesn't look like gold, but it is on the carène. You see there's some shading. The paper brings that out nicely. Let's go for that broad nib on the cross. You see the problem that I just had is not present here. There is no skipping. So, here you have it, my two favorite notepads, Lalo Vergé de France and Triomphe by Clairefontaine. I hope this was useful. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.